means the way. It means the flow of the universe, a pattern behind the natural world that keeps the universe balanced and order. For those of you who are following our archetypal themes, you recognize that this is the month of the nurturer. And we picked the Tao to go with this month because of the water, because water is very nurturing. Like water, it is unformed. The Tao is unformed. It is endlessly self-replenishing. It is soft and quiet, but immensely powerful and impassively generous. So think about the things that water can do, right? It can take the form of whatever it is put into. It can create enough power to generate electricity for a city. It created the Grand Canyon. Right? So it is soft and yet it is strong. And so I'd like for you to hold that image as we continue to explore the Tao in this talk. And you can see the water kind of running through this tapestry. Water also represents the emotions. And one of the tenets that I've read of Taoism was, do not under any circumstances depend on a partial feeling. And so just like water, our emotions flow and change. And how much time do we or our culture spend avoiding feeling emotions, right? It's like, let me distract myself. Let me drink something. Let me eat something. Let me do something so that I don't have to feel what I feel. And the Tao is telling us to not depend on a partial feeling. In other words, be with it and then let it go. Because you ever noticed when you're feeling something, particularly if it's a negative emotion, the first tendency may be to want to run from it. And yet, what I've noticed, if we sit with it, it goes away. It's like, and it doesn't take that long for it to go away. So the Tao would have us be aware of our feelings, but not to chase them around and not to chase them down, but to be aware of it and then let it go. So I think probably in the Tao, the image that most of us are familiar with is the symbol of the yin-yang, which we can see here, right? And the Taoists believe that when the world began, there was only the Tao, a featureless, empty void, pregnant with the potential of all things. And now hear the words of Genesis, chapter 1. In the beginning, when God created the universe, the earth was formless and desolate. The raging ocean that covered everything was engulfed in total darkness, and the Spirit of God was moving over the water. We see similar imagery happening here. So there was an empty void pregnant with the potential of all things. And at this point, the Tao generated swirling patterns of cloud-like energy called qi. And this energy eventually developed into two complementary aspects, the yin and the yang. The yin, which is dark, heavy, and feminine, and yang, which is light, airy, and masculine. And the yin energy is said to sink to the form of the earth, and the yang energy rose to form the heavens, and both energies harmonized to form human beings. And so you and I are walking yin and yangs. We have that symbol within us. We carry the earth and the heavens. We are a microcosm, if you will, of the world. So when we look at the yin and yang, we see a balance of the feminine and the masculine, of the active and the inactive. But the idea is that one isn't good and one isn't bad, one just is. And I like the way they have put in the collage in here with everything in it, because the Tao would not leave anything out. Everything is a part of God. Everything is a part of life. Everything is a part of this dance. The other image in the Tao is that in the dark is the light, in the light is in the dark. And one of the symbols behind this is that whatever is happening in your life right now If you think it's just absolutely wonderful, there's probably the seed of the opposite right there, right? Or if things are not going well in your life and it's dark, there's the seed of the good right there. So in whatever it is happening, there's always the movement like the water. There's always the shift and the change. And when we look at the chaos that we're experiencing in the world today, we may say that, we're kind of in this midst, but in the seed of that is the light, right? Is the answer. And our task, if you will, is to begin to flow with that and to heal that and to find the answer in that with the Tao. Part of the practice of Tao is to accept, is to conform, and to work with natural developments no matter what is happening. And that's the hard part. No matter what is happening, to work with whatever is going on in the world. And how does one do that without getting attached and saying it should be this way, it should be that way? The Tao would ask us to just be willing to flow with it. Probably the most famous story that you all know, the Tao story, is that of the farmer and the horse, right? I know you all know this one. So a farmer had a horse and the horse ran away, and the neighbor came over and said, "Oh my God, that's so terrible that your horse ran away." And he said, "Well, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, who knows?" And the next day, the horse came back and brought 3 other horses with him. And he said, "Wow, you are so lucky. That is so great. What great fortune that now you have 4 horses." And the farmer said, "Well, it may be good, it may be bad. Who knows?" So the farmer's son was trying to ride these new horses that were wild, and they threw him off and broke his leg. And the neighbor came over and said, "That's terrible. What a horrible thing to have happened. Your son broke his leg." And the farmer says, "Maybe good, maybe bad. Who knows?" And the next day, soldiers from the army came because a war had broken out, and they were gathering all the men in the village, and guess what? They couldn't take his son because he had a broken leg. And the neighbor said, "Wow, you are so lucky. You have such good fortune that your son broke his leg." And he said, "Maybe good, maybe bad. Who knows?" And is life not like that? We call something good, we call something bad, and we don't know where it's going to lead because we have limited vision. We do not have the full, complete scope, the complete vision of spirit, where we can see the whole picture. We only see what is in front of us at the time. So part of Taoism is non-attachment, which I think is kind of difficult for Westerners. It's more of the Buddhist practice. So the Tao would suggest that we maintain equilibrium. The Tao has in it the ability to accept the current reality as it is. Now, does that mean we don't try to change the reality? No, but we accept what is. Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, who's daring greatly? Brene Brown. They're doing all of their teachings and work really around this concept. Byron Katie said that life is simple and everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon nor too late. You don't have to like it, but it's easier if you do. So the whole concept is, how much time do we spend arguing with reality, right? It shouldn't be this way. Hey, I should be a published author by now, or I should do this, or I could have been somebody, I could have been a contender, right? And so how much time is wasted with this arguing with the reality that is, thinking that it should have been something different, it should have been in a different way, and the truth is, it's perfect because it happened and because it is and because we are here, and whatever we are living and whatever we are doing, this is what we're supposed to be doing because this is what is. Once we are in that place, then we can begin to move that energy to change things. So the first step is not to argue reality, but to accept and own it. Another Taoist saying says this: the more expectations you have for your life, the less you will become. A Taoist lives life without expectations, living in the here and now more fully. Again, a very anti-Western approach, is it not? How much time do we spend visualizing and creating our dreams and goals and calling it in? And the Taoist would say, just live without expectations. Live, again, in a sense of non-attachment. And I can see this if that there are times when we get so goal-oriented, perhaps we miss what's right in front of us, right? We're so focused on the project or the thing that has to happen that we miss the moment in being together. So I was really kind of struggling with this idea of the Tao and the non-attachment, and like, how does that show up, and where have we seen it, or where do we see it, particularly in our own popular culture right now. And I think where we're seeing it, and have seen it for those of you who follow the Game of Thrones, is the life of Arya Stark. And she has a young girl, and she's lost everything. And I'm not doing any spoiler alerts, because we're already into season 5 or whatever it is. But she's lost everything. She's lost her parents. She's had so much tragedy that, for a child, it's like, how much more can happen? And in the story, she is called to the temple of the many-faced God. And as she approaches the temple, there is the door, and half the door is black and half the door is white. And so we see the symbol of the yin yang. And as she enters the temple and she begins to work in the temple as an apprentice, she is supposed to forget everything about herself. She is to become the faceless one. And so she is asked over and over again, who are you? And she says, I am no one. Who are you? I am no one. What is your name? The girl has no name. And she releases her possessions. She releases things and lets them go. And she also she goes blind, and she needs to learn to fight without seeing. Sound familiar? Luke Skywalker, the Force, right? It's the same energy. It's the same idea. We're looking at the chi, we're looking at the force. And so she learns to be able to move with this energy. And it's when she totally lets go, when she really has no name, when she has no face, when she forgets everything, then she can claim herself. Then she can be herself. So again, we have this whole mass of stuff that's happening, and yet at the same time, nothing. Have I totally confused you? So, what wisdom does the Tao give to us today in these chaotic times? I think that we are asked to hold it all, just like this. We're asked to hold it all and not run from it, to see the reality, to be in the reality, and not let it take us over, like what did the Tao say about the emotions, right? To just let them come and let them go. But we are asked to hold it all and not run from it. We are asked to hold the chaos, the violence, the love, and the peace. The yin and the yang, the seed of peace, is contained in the chaos. And like water, to accept and conform and work with the current developments. Water is powerful and it is generous. So the issue of Black Lives Matter. What can you do to be a healing force in this? How can you be like the water to be a healing force? What can you do to heal the separation and the division that seems to be rampant right now? Again, using the image of water, how can you be a healing force? Lao Tzu, who's up there, said this: the capacity of mind is broad and huge, like the vast sky. Do not sit with a mind fixed on emptiness. If you do, you will fall into a neutral kind of emptiness. Emptiness includes The sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the earth, the mountains, the rivers, the trees, the grass, bad men, good things, bad things, heaven, hell. These are in the midst of emptiness. So there is the call again to hold it all and to hold nothing. The faceless God, if you will. So we bless our tapestry teams. We bless all of you who have worked to create the Tao and have worked to create the others. Because from the chaos of 9/11, a step in healing and understanding through the tapestries began. And it feels to me like they have a life of their own, that they are being called into the wider world. So we are all on the road. We are all on the path. We are all on the way. And may we walk it with kindness and compassion. And as I shared with you in meditation, in closing, Stephen Russell said that for a few minutes, attune your mind to the idea of harmony and peaceful coexistence flowing among all people and all nations. So see that. And as you slowly breathe in and breathe out, picture it radiating from you like a fine colored vapor covering the face of the earth. I invite you to see it entering the hearts of everyone, including and especially those stuck in mad zones. So we send it to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We send it to Nice, France. We send it to Bangladesh. We send it to Dallas. We send it to Minnesota. You are like water. So it circulates everywhere. It comes back to you. This is truly love in action, and the source of love is Tao. And it is so.